been a lot of attention paid to language in the report about the president's memory, so let me say a few words about that. My task was to determine whether the president retained or disclosed national defense information willfully. That means knowingly and with the intent to do something the law forbids. I could not make that determination without assessing the president's state of mind. For that reason, I had to consider the president's memory and overall mental state and how a jury likely would perceive his memory and mental state in a criminal trial. These are the types of issues that prosecutors analyze every day. And because these issues were important to my ultimate decision, I had to include a discussion of them in my report to the Attorney General. The evidence and the president himself put his memory squarely at issue. We interviewed the president and asked him about his recorded statement. Quote, "I just found all the classified stuff downstairs," end quote. He told us that he didn't remember saying that to his ghostwriter. He also said he didn't remember finding any classified material in his home after his vice presidency. And he didn't remember anything about how classified documents about Afghanistan made their way into his garage. My assessment in the report about the relevance of the president's memory was necessary and accurate and fair.
Robert Hur deserves a big apology. He was right when he came out and said, I can't convict this guy. If I put him in front of a jury, they're gonna be like, man, this guy is old. We can't convict this guy. He's not all there. And remember, all Democrats, including mainstream media, came out. Oh my goodness, how dare Robert Hur? That is terrible, blah, the whole nine. And if you don't believe me, well, we'll dive into that. Because all of these folks, Democrats included, or mainstream included, deserve to be called out at bare minimum. Some of the folks on mainstream media should be fired. Like this first clip that I'm about to show you, who is Joe Scarborough. We're used to that name, right? The same guy who said, this is the best version of Joe Biden, and F you if you don't believe it. Yeah, he was a part of the lie too. Let's dive in.
Wonder what pasture he will walk off into.
I don't know.
Just kind of wander off and say, and Joe Biden, I noticed he didn't really tie his tie well. The tie knot suggested that maybe he has arthritis in his left thumb.
Where are you going with this?
I'm just saying this guy says such random shit about
Joe, stop.
Stop. He's a kindly old man who could not remember his son's birthday. Like, he wandered off into a pasture here and, maybe Arnold the Pig led him there. I don't know. No, you should apologize for her because
I shouldn't have asked.
I don't know exactly. Like, does he hope he gets a judgeship? I think he does. Yeah. I think he hopes he gets a judgeship. If Donald Trump gets elected again, he's trying out because he humiliated himself with that display.
Jackie Alamedi has...
Joe Scarborough, MSDNC, live television. That's what he had to say. And even worse, the person that Democrats wanted to put out in front as their nominee basically said the exact same thing.
I have been privileged and proud to serve as Vice President of the United States with Joe Biden as President of the United States. And what I saw of that report last night, I believe is, as a former prosecutor, the comments that were made by that prosecutor, gratuitous, inaccurate, and inappropriate. So the way that the president's demeanor in that report was characterized could not be more wrong on the facts. And so I will say that when it comes to the role and responsibility of a prosecutor in a situation like that, we should expect that there would be a higher level of integrity than what we saw. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Interesting. So happy she lost. Even Karine Jean-Pierre got in on it too.
Committee chairs have sent a letter to the Attorney General asking for the release of the transcripts and recordings related to Hur's investigation. Given your insistence that the special counsel's characterizations of the president's demeanor were inaccurate, are you eager for this material to be made public? Do you support their release?
Well, look, and I just want to be really clear, it's not just us. There was also bipartisan voices and illegal experts who have said it was flatly wrong, right? It was gratuitous. It was inappropriate how that was characterized in the special counsel's report. I will add that this was a 15-month investigation that interviewed 150 witnesses, examined 7 million records, and cost $3.5 million of the taxpayer money. 3.5 million taxpayer dollars. They explored every theory and found that there was no case to be made. So House Republicans wasted their time, continue to waste their time, and they're not being serious to do their jobs. I just went back and forth about, this important piece of legislation that just came out of the Senate in a bipartisan way to deal with our national security concerns. And they're not doing their job. They are saying, obviously, Speaker Johnson is saying he's not going to move forward with that. So we want them to pass that. We want them to pass legislation to help secure the border and work on the real issues. For any other specific on the transcript or anything related to that, the letter, I would certainly refer you to my colleagues.
So you want
Not eager to release the audio. I wonder why. We'll get into the audio here in just a second because, of course, there's more Democrats, including Adam Schiff, who's the biggest hypocrite ever. Check it out.
You don't gratuitously do things to prejudice the subject of an investigation when you're declining to prosecute. You don't gratuitously add language that you know will be useful in a political campaign. You were not born yesterday. You understood exactly what you were doing. It was a choice. You certainly didn't have to include that language. You could have said vis-a-vis the documents that were found at the university, the president did not recall. There is nothing more common. You know this. I know this. There is nothing more common with a witness of any age when asked about events that are years old to say, I do not recall. Historically, these reports are made public. These reports and the investigation underlying them are funded with taxpayer dollars, and the public has a right to know. The Justice Department could not bring that offense to trial, not as against the main perpetrator in Donald Trump. If the Attorney General were to decide here to allow this report to be buried, the lack of justice would be followed with a lack of any kind of accountability, and the public.
So he was fine with Jack Smith releasing the documents, right? But Robert Hur, no. Interesting. Jamie Raskins included. They all did it, right? They all did it. I'm going to spare you guys that because I want to get into this audio tape of Robert Hur's interview with Joe Biden. Check part of that out.
So during this time, we were living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer booster shot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. It's not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I might run for office again. So if I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening though, what month did Bo die? May 30th, 2018. Was it 2015 he died?
2015.
I think it's 2015.
I'm not sure the months are, but I think that was.
Yeah.
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that Trump gets elected in November of 2017? 2016. All right. So, why do I have 2017 here?
That's when you left office, January of 2017.
Yeah, okay. But that's when Trump gets sworn in,
Right.
January.
Right. Correct.
Okay, yeah. And in 2017, Beau had passed, and this is personal. The genesis of the book and the title, Promise Me Dad, was I know you're all close with your sons and daughters, but Beau was like my right arm, and that was my left. These guys were a year and a day apart, and they could finish each other's sentences. And Beau, I used to go home on the train in the period.
So yeah, you heard that. No wonder why they didn't want the audio tape released. This man said his son died in 2017. His son actually died in 2015. I'm just saying, that wasn't crazy long ago. You would think you would know when your loved one passed away, and you would also think you would know when you left office. He literally said, why do I have 2017 down right here? And Robert Hur had to tell him, like, yo, that's when you left office. You need to be told that? And this is the guy that they were pushing out as their candidate until they couldn't any longer after the debate. Yeah. These people are despicable, man. Absolutely despicable. Democrats, not to say that they were trusted before, but they definitely shouldn't ever be trusted again, as well as everyone in mainstream media that chose to lie about all of this. You know, the people that chose to say, F you if you don't believe this is the best version of Joe Biden. Yeah, stop it with the nonsense. All right? Absolutely despicable stuff, man. Absolutely despicable stuff. But what do y'all think, man? Should people like Joe Scarborough be fired? What do you think? Talk to me. Peace and love. I'm out.